Hi everybody, we're playing D&D today. Welcome to Help Wanted. I'm going to go ahead and let the characters get introduced and we'll go over what happened last week. You want to start us off, Alex?
Whoa. Sure. Alex, Lundy, Kolok, 2TM, Barbarian, Dragonborn, Red Scales, who currently has a river group in the future. By torturing it to degrees.
You're a terrible person.
Yes.
My name is Chris.
A better plan. But right now it's kind of up in the air.
Hello, my name is Fiona. I play Ridderloth in Exile Talus Ellison, who is fully willing to just keep reviving this troll, and really his morals are highly questionable, but let's not worry about that.
I play Lucy, a human psionic soul sorceress, who's being possessed by one of her past victims. And she's been having a good time bugging the captain of the guard in his brain, and she's pretty neutral on this whole troll torture stance.
Hi, I'm John. I'm playing Ty Birchbound, the young, impressionable human monk, and I'm not sure what the plan is with the troll.
And unfortunately, Wilhelmina will not be able to join us this afternoon. She is off on vacation, so we will be running the story without her. When we last left off, the illustrious group of Kolok's Krushers, who have been acting as a forward force for the Reddenbar army and on their trip to this town of Odrifell to collect some taxes from the people there. They have been running into obstacles and also trying to find a way to slow the army's progress so that the people in the town of Odrifell can get out from under the boot heel of Reddenbar. Last week they came across this troll, which was not in this creek by accident. Century, having seen the troll wandering down the waterways of the creek, was able to stall the troll there long enough to create a diversion for the army. And so Kolok and his Krushers took advantage of that and started to fight the troll, while the army chose to divert themselves to another pass to reach the town, thus costing them quite a bit of time. After defeating the troll, they have been standing around its unconscious body, trying to determine exactly how they are going to get it to follow Kolok's plan of becoming the party's new siege weapon. And we'll pick it up with you guys determining whether you're going to revive the troll fully enough to convince it of anything.
All right. So, everybody understands the idea here, the basic premise.
Only
Not
vote
really.
to save it. I'll do it. It's fine.
Okay. First off, we need to find a place to send this thing, once it agrees. Century. You have a map, right?
Indeed.
Is there any large bodies of water on that map?
I believe there's a lake to the south of Reddenbar.
Good.
1 moment, please. I approach Wilhelmina and look down at the halfling. I think it might be best if you rendezvous with the military while we handle this strange situation. It is probably best for you to have plausible deniability.
At the very least, we're supposed to continue fighting the troll for the next little while, so...
Yeah, also, Wilhelmina suggested to just have her go with the army. That's what Jess told.
She kind of shrugs and basically says, well, if you don't want me here, I guess I can go do that. And after understanding that you want to give her plausible deniability, she takes Cloud and rides off to meet up with the forces of the military to continue to scout ahead of them while you handle the troll situation.
Wilhelmina, before you leave,
She slows up.
may we keep Greymane for the time being?
She tells you that Ty can take care of Greymane for the time being.
No problem.
Thank you.
She also tells Ty not to let them do anything that she wouldn't do with Greymane.
Got it.
And then she rides off. What are you doing with the troll?
I'm going to stand on top of its stomach and stare at it until it wakes up.
Okay. I'm going to roll a d4 to see how long that is. 4 hours later.
Well, hey,
Perfect.
that's
The longer it takes,
yeah,
the
we're
better.
trying to waste time.
Yeah?
Hours?
Yeah.
In that case, I go and get the cart.
I teach Chalice how to play poker.
This does not get it at all.
And when I get back with the cart, I would like to pull Talus aside.
What do you need?
Why did the troll not regenerate?
I have learned through my studies of necromancy how to suppress healing.
That could be very useful. But I did overhear you discussing the possibility of reviving the troll. I would appreciate it. I think it would be best if we avoided using any magic to assist potential enemies, particularly if they require costly components. Like,
I stabilized it. It was very easy. Didn't require anything really. It's standard practice.
very well.
I won't use diamonds on it if that's what you mean.
That is precisely what I was concerned about.
Okay. Charles just gives a little nod, like it's unclear whether he was planning on using diamonds on it before if it had died, but he just gives you a little nod.
About 2 hours into this 4-hour wake up, Sentry would be fording the cart across the creek. It's muddy, so it's going to take a while. But he would hook Daedalus back up to the cart.
Okay.
And use both war horses to pull it across.
Okay. You get it.
I'm not one to waste time. If any of you need to rest, now would be the time to do it.
Point, Talus is going to take a nap because he's still exhausted from partying last night.
Yeah, you have 4 hours to take a short rest if you would like to do so. The troll does not seem to be waking up very quickly, but eventually, once the cart is across, and you guys take some time to get yourselves together. The troll's eyes begin to blink open, and Kolok is just kind of standing there over it as that happens. The thing blinks its eyes open.
Patience.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure the barbarian has immense patience.
For something like this? Hell yeah.
The troll kind of like covers its eyes, scooping up mud and like wiping it across its drying face, and blinks up at the tiny dragonborn that is standing on its stomach, and you food?
I start to have smoke come from my nose and just like float into the air. No.
Talus is going to translate into giant, essentially saying, Boss Kolok, not food. Boss Kolok, powerful.
So you can translate for me, right, Talus?
Yeah, I speak giant. What do you need me to say?
Right. I need you to inform this troll that unless wants to die, it now works for me.
Talus is going to translate and pretty much say Boss Kolok is your boss, unless you would like to die of fire.
He scrunches up his face. He's no fire. Gorg, no work. Gorg is Gorg's.
Doesn't want to work for anyone. He says his name is Gorg, and he is more of a free spirit.
Well, put simply, you can go ahead and tell him this. I know the place that he can go to get a lot of water, maybe a lot of food. There's a lake to the south that he can go to. He can go there, but we will eventually come and ask him to do something for us. And when we do, I would like him not to argue.
Talus turns to Gorg and says, there is a lake to the south, there is water there, and there is food there, and there is places for you to rest. I see you are dry. But for the favor of this information, and for the favor of sparing your life, sometime we will come to this lake, and we will ask something of you, and you will say yes.
Gorg, been to lake. Come from lake. Lake, small now. Gorg, go back, but not much food. Bring Gorg water. Gorg, help.
Gorg says that the lake is more dry than it has been and has little food, but he seems to be willing to negotiations if we bring him water.
Talus,
Yes?
do you trust him?
Alice looks into Gorg's eyes and is going to try to figure out how trustworthy this troll is.
Give me an insight roll. Gorg looks back into your eyes and says, "Why you look, Gorg, like that?"
I want to know if I can trust you, Gorg.
Gorg not liar. slams his fist into the mud, and a shower of, like, muddy droplets fly through the air as he does. He's still lying on his back with Kolok on his stomach, by the way. He hasn't sat up yet.
Well, his regeneration's been horribly nerfed, so...
I mean, he's not on fire, and the hand is not still attached to him, so he's starting to regenerate.
True.
Alice is gonna look at Kolok and say, I think this guy's on the level. I trust him.
Alright, so we just need to find a way to bring some more water to the lake. Shouldn't be too hard.
Very well. And I put away the wand with the burnt, crispy hand on the end of it.
Gorg, as soon as... If Kolok gets off him, Gorg will sit up and look around.
Yeah.
Are there any horses that are not attached to the cart?
I don't...
Ty's riding horse and Greymane.
Yeah.
Gorg will point to whatever horse does not have a rider or barding or attached to the cart and say, extra food?
Good. Not for you. I know. Boss Kolok asked these sorts of questions too. I understand. Some people need clarification.
Gorg looks sad. You fight too much to be food.
Why, thank you.
Dallas, let Gorg know that there are other people that we're fighting, and we think they're the reason why there's no more water.
Talus turns to Gorg and says, Gorg, we have an enemy, and we believe that they have drained your lake of its precious water. This is why we wish for your help.
Who Gorg eat?
The same...
To know who to eat.
Tell him it's the same red men from the voice before. I had spent some time explaining to him what the Redenver soldiers looked like before arriving here.
They take water.
Indeed,
The
they
red
do.
men take the water. The red men that Century, and he gestures towards Century, told you of.
And I'll use a message spell to speak directly into Gorg's mind again, and tell him the ones from the voice.
No, we get water from them.
Yes.
But not yet. There's a particular time in which we will strike, and it is then that we'll have you start eating people.
Boss Kolok requires patience so that we may get all of the water. If we strike too soon, it will be for naught.
Gorg, wait.
He's agreed to wait,
Gorg,
but
you bring Gorg food. Bring Gorg water. Gorg help. Gorg wait. Gorg,
we'll help for food and water.
Gorg, go with you to Redmen. Take water from them.
This is just kind of translating as he talks.
So, for now, we're going to want Gorg to wait for us to pass before he goes to his lake. Let him know that there will be people who will bring him food, but not to eat the people who bring the food.
Orc, we will send the food and supplies that you need, but it is important that you do not eat the ones that bring the food and water, because then you will not get any more food and water. You will know what a messenger is.
Gorg nods.
They are messengers, they bring the good things, and they are not to be eaten.
Message, not food.
Is a message spelled out with food.
I look at Lucy and Ty.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on where we should go from here?
Well, I think we still need to get to the town and warn them. We bought some time with this troll diversion, but if we don't get them the message soon, all that extra time won't do us much good.
I believe it's taken us an extra day, and we've bought ourselves another day and a half. If my cartography is accurate. Zoe,
Yeah,
do you still have contact with the enemy commander?
I believe I do, right?
How long? I don't remember. I have to look.
It
how
was
long-
8 hours and 8 miles.
8 hours and 8 hours, 8 miles, and 4. We've used 4 hours waiting.
Yeah, I think you'd still be able to contact him at this point.
Yeah, I'm still talking to him.
He's gonna be too far away very soon, but for now you can still reach him.
Do you want me to pass on a message?
I think for a moment, no. At this time, I do not believe that. I believe that if we lead them to believe that we've defeated the troll, they will turn around. So it's best if we keep silence as far as communication goes for the time being.
So we waited about 4 hours for this troll to wake up. What time of day is it about right now?
It is, I'd say 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right around that time.
And how much longer until we get to our destination?
From where you are, I believe it's another day of travel, like half of today and half of tomorrow, and you should be there. Because I think it was 2.5 days total, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did rest for 4 hours. We could push it and get there early tomorrow.
You want to travel for another 8 hours today to reach there before, like, tonight?
To get to basically be really close to getting there, but not actually getting there yet.
Okay.
As far as like the troops are concerned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you rested for 4 hours as a quote short rest, rather than starting your forced march after 8 full hours of travel, I'll have you start your forced march after 11 full hours of travel. So you guys can push it for you guys can travel an extra 3 hours tonight, and then you'll be an hour outside of town.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So that means that we'll be able to reconvene with the army and let them know that we're good to go again, and we can suggest perhaps traveling for a few more hours more than normal so that we can take care of the town first thing in the morning.
Well, here's the thing, is that the army's taking the long way around now. So if you push it and get to the town tonight, they won't be there for another full day. You'll have a whole day before they arrive.
All right. Yeah.
We'll be almost a day and a half ahead of them.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, we'll work with that. We'll have Lucy let them know to reconvene with us outside of the town because we'll be scouting ahead to make sure there's no more problems like this troll or anything, or the owl bears. Like there seems to be some consistent problems on the road, and they continuously need us to take care of them. So we figured we might as well go ahead.
Give me an insight check, Kolok. Oh, wow.
Nice.
As you're thinking that, like as you're telling that to Lucy, it occurs to you that they've been throwing money at you to handle problems that are, quote, too big for you guys pretty consistently. Like, yeah, that seems really dangerous. Let them go take care of that. And it seems to be a pretty consistent pattern that they're throwing you in harm's way and not really caring about how much they're paying you to do it.
The best way to recoup costs is to murder your employees.
I mean, this is about what I expected. Our very first job for them was for, I think, 2 gold each.
Basically
to try
a
and
suicide
annihilate
mission.
a suicide mission to annihilate an entire mound filled with dwarves. So, like, it's I'm fairly certain that they they see us as useful, but if we die, cool. Is basically what their philosophy is right now.
The plan to even contact the army, is that something Kolok's voicing out loud?
Yeah, I would say that.
Sentry would disagree, not just because it's Kolok's plan, but because radio silence in this instance is probably for the best. Just foregoing communication with them, period. They've already got a route. We've got an established ETA for that route. We haven't given them any reason to turn around. We don't need to reconnoiter with them once they get there, because we're going to be using the next day or so to get everybody out of town and sabotage their ability to attack, to collect any provisions, which is what I think we agreed is pretty much their real plan, is to burn the place to the ground and steal their food.
I just didn't want to raise their suspicions, Century. If we don't reconvene with them at the end of their particular route, then they're going to wonder what's going on with us. They might not care if we're dead, but if we do show up later on, they're going to wonder why we didn't reconvene with them earlier.
Kolok, I believe that the best assumption would be for them to find us as they approach.
So what do we tell them if they ask why we didn't reconvene with them earlier?
We could not establish communication. The telepathy has to be established. The telepathy has to be established within 30 feet. It can't be... Our communications expert could not reach them. It's a simple lie, but an effective one.
And in a few hours at the very least, that's going to actually be true.
Correct. If we tell them now that we have dealt with the troll, there is a non-0% chance that they will turn around. And then we will have only gained 4 hours, as opposed to a day and a half if they continue on their current route and travel through the mountain pass.
All right. We won't tell them then. We'll continue our way. We'll let them continue their way, and then when they reach us, they'll reach us. We're gonna march a little bit longer tonight before we end up setting up camp, and we'll probably be about an hour outside of the village, something like that, considering our time. Who wants to be the representatives to explain to the village what's going on and what we need of them?
Sentry starts to raise his hand, but
lowers it. I'm not picky.
I have always considered myself something of a people person.
Forgive my candor, but we will be dealing with a town of humans. I believe it is best if our humans handle the interaction.
I agree.
I guess we'll find out when we get there.
they're also going to be on edge. They know that the Reddenburg forces are coming. So...
I'm assuming some of this conversation is happening while you're traveling.
Yeah, while we're traveling. We've already given direction to the troll to leave after we're gone, so...
Right. Okay. The remainder of your travels go unimpeded as you head towards Odrifell. You travel.
Where are Talus's dogs?
Oh, they're there.
Okay.
They're always there.
Sentry's gonna pet one of them while he's driving the car.
As he should.
Yeah.
Yes.
You, as I said, your travel's unimpeded. You travel the rest of the way to the town of Odrifell, and as you come over kind of a hill, you could see the town on the horizon, kind of standing out. In this, at the bottom of this hill, there's a wooden palisades that marks the location of this town. And it is, it's within sight, and as you know, probably about an hour of travel. It's like way down this hill that you can see it. Just this tiny little view in the distance. This would be a fine place to make camp for the evening. It is, if you started back on the road not long after 3 and continued traveling, it is well after dark at this point. You make camp and ready yourselves for interacting with this unfortunate town the next day.
Everyone, feel free to get rested up. I will take the watch for the night.
Alice is already asleep. There was too much partying last night.
And this is going to be a full long rest?
This is going to be a full long rest.
Nice.
Kolok.
Mm-hmm.
That night you dream about the spear. Just battle and rage and fury and blood and the spear. It stands out in your mind. Then, as the battle rages, everything's kind of a blur in your dream. It's just focused on the spear in battle. Like the actions of everything around the spear are kind of faded into the background, and the spear is finally plunged into some beast. Again, you can't really make out what kind of beast it is, and even when you recall the dream the next morning, the details are fuzzy, except for one. After the beast is slain, a feminine hand, reaches down and pulls the spear out, and you see Morrigan holding the legendary weapon in her hands and kind of fingering the feathers at the end of the spear. And she looks directly at you. Her eyes are ablaze with that warrior's fury. And as she looks directly at you, she says, these are more important than you know. And then the dream ends. And that's all you can recall of the dream, is just the spear in battle and that moment of her speaking to you.
Having a dream filled with blood and battle and destruction and rage, seeing Morrigan in her full likeness in the middle of a battle, waking up from this dream, Kolok is in kind of a feral state. And when he gets up the next morning, he kind of like starts kind of like patrolling the area on all fours, growling, snarling, looking for something big to claw into. But
as he gets closer to Sentry's breakfast pot of whatever he's cooking with that 10 survival check, Sentry's gonna, as he gets closer, Sentry draws his greatsword and looks at Kolok like, "Don't you dare spill this."
Kolok, there is a huge dead tree on this hill. Like, it is dried out. Just standing at the top of this hill that you've camped by.
I will turn towards the dead tree, and I will start just clawing into it and just continuously slashing at it while letting out a big roar, and I just breathe a full breath of fire onto it, just lighting it on fire, attempting to essentially destroy the tree.
Oh yeah. The minute you apply any force to this thing, it just rips out of the ground and falls over, and you're just on top of it, just snarling and ripping it to pieces. And as you light it on fire, it goes up like tinder. The rest of you kind of wake up to this snarling, gnashing of just angry Kolok spewing fire all over this hilltop.
I made breakfast.
Sentry is just entirely unperturbed.
A small ways away from Kolok doing this, if someone were to look, they would see Grim holding a tiny shard of this tree and attacking it attempting to emulate Kolok's ferocity with this like tiny piece of bark, as if to be like, "No, I'm the strongest one here."
Doing the little corgi head whips, just. Yes.
After having successfully destroyed the tree, Kolok will, if anybody is uncertain as to what's going on, he will let out a massive roar. Just generally to the sky, as he's just like clawing into his hands and kind of like drawing blood from his own palms.
What is everyone's reaction to this? The horses are going crazy, by the way. They are terrified.
I'll try to calm down the horses.
Okay.
Hey, Kolok, you
I will
okay?
join him.
What'd you say, Lucy?
Just, hey, Kolok, are you okay?
Lucy, when Kolok's head just sort of like immediately turns to you when you approach him, you see his pupils are like extremely dilated, like very much just slits at this point, as he just like eyes you with this very fierce look. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay. Anything I can help with?
I don't know if you can. This is just something that I sometimes deal with.
Oh, like nightmares? I get those too.
I wouldn't call it that. Lucy, I'm not sure if this is something that you might be able to understand, but ever since I was very young, I've had this need to fight, to kill, to hunt, to do violent things. It's not something I've been able to control very well for most of my life. When I was young, my parents kept me in check. But every time I would go out hunting, every time we would, our tribe would come across bandits or something along those lines, I would just be insistent, clawing everything that I could find until I get bone, chewing on them, tearing into them with my teeth, everything. It's like there's a beast inside of me that I can't control. That's why I started learning about Morrigan. She gave me direction, focus, the ability to control it to a degree. But when I see enough violence, I can't stop myself. When I hear about a challenge, I can't ignore it. It is fundamental to me to rise and destroy and tear.
While this conversation is taking place, Sentry has the horses have started to go crazy from fear of Kolok. Talus, your pack of dogs is terrified of him and has gone and scurried under the same place that they always go to when battle starts, which is under the cart. The problem is that the war horses pulling and bucking have knocked the cart, and the cart is starting to like shake and tumble over.
They wouldn't have been lashed into the cart.
Yeah, but the cart was nearby, and like the cart gets kicked and starts bucking and shaking, and the dogs are underneath them, and they're kind of cowering underneath them as the barrels filled with your skeletons like fly off the cart and start rolling around on the ground. You can't get the dogs to come out from under the cart. They refuse to move. They're just cowering together in a pile, and Ty is trying to take care of his riding horse and Greymane at the same time, and Greymane just rips out of Ty's hands and goes bolting towards town. Greymane is just running and running and running, and Ty is trying his best to get his horse under control enough that he can go after Greymane, and that is the scene that is kind of going on in the meantime. Sentry, you go over to ask Ty if he needs you to go and get Greymane, but Ty, you're still trying to get your own riding horse under control. Sentry can aid you, or you can aid Sentry as you try to get your horse under control to go after Greymane. So that is the scene on hand.
Yeah, I'll take the help to try to get my horse under control.
All right, so you want me to? Yep.
I'm
Okay.
assuming it's like the help action for advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get your own. You get your own horse under control, and you're able to hop on.
I'm already on Daedalus's back.
Okay.
We're gonna take
Yeah. Now we can go together to try to get Greymane.
Okay. You guys take off after Greymane, and that is kind of. Oh, Lucy, Talus, what are you doing in the meantime? Well, Lucy's been talking to Kolok. Talus, what are you doing with your dogs? They're like cowering under the cart. One of your barrel's tops has come off, and the skeletons are starting to like climb out of it. It's just a mess.
The skeletons look like they have also been affected by the war howl. They look antsy in their own weird way. And Talus is just kind of crouched on the ground looking at his dogs like, hey, no, it's fine, come on, no, it's fine, don't worry about it, no, please. And this is not working, and they're all just panicking. So Talus is just desperately trying to take control of a situation that he has no control over.
Sure.
Also, Lucy would say back to Kolok, yeah, I can't really relate to most of that. You're right. Thing about having something inside you, but other than that, yeah. But if it makes you feel any better, I've never felt unsafe around you, so I think you're pretty good at controlling yourself. I mean, sure, you killed that tree, but it was dead anyway.
The hilltop is starting to go up in flames, by the way.
Yeah, Lucy is ignoring that.
It would probably be good if we moved camp a little bit away from this. Once we get everything settled down, I do have something I need to tell everybody, but,
Kolok's thinking forward about what's coming next as everybody is trying to control the chaos he has created. As Daedalus and your riding horse pull up to Greymane, what are you trying to do to corral him?
I think between the two of us, we can just try to get in a position where one of us can actually grab the reins and just kind of steer it just with the horse's bodies a little bit.
Okay. All right.
And I will use the help action for Sentry to make the actual check.
Okay. Sentry, go ahead and try to grab onto Greymane's reins. That'll do it, for sure. Thanks to Ty. Ty is able to deftly maneuver his horse to kind of cut off Greymane's path, and Greymane rears up on his hind legs and comes down, and just that slowing action in that moment, you can ride up and just almost like you were summoning your sword into your hand. Somehow it seems like you summon the reins into your hand at that moment, and you're able to pull Greymane to stop and eventually woe him down until he just is kind of trotting nervously but not panicking.
I hand the reins to Ty. Wilhelmina was very clear that you are the only one permitted to handle Greymane. I will apologize when next we see her.
It's all right. Thanks for your help.
No problem. Now I have to return that to camp and make sure that the idiot lizard hasn't ruined my breakfast.
I likely have at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
You guys ride back up, and Talus is still trying to get the dogs out from under the wagon when you get back up there. And the Grim is hopping around, barking at the burning tree and the hillside that has started to burn around it. And Kolok, you have things to say.
Before that, can I take an action?
Uh-huh. What are you doing?
I would like to run through the fire. I'd like to run through the fire while casting Absorb Elements.
Okay. Sure. Kolok, Sentry runs up with his horse, kind of dashes and jumps over the burning tree, and as he does, he sweeps his hands down and pulls some of the heat of the fire away, and it begins to die down, at least to some extent. The embers around the tree burning down, so that the tree is once again the only thing on fire.
And then I will be attacking the tree with the flaming attack to try and disperse it.
Gotcha. Okay. You can go ahead and make an attack against the tree to smash it and try to break up what you have.
Oop. That's not good.
No.
Well, it is a tree.
It is a tree. It is a tree. You dig your blade into the hillside, and it kind of lands in front of the tree. Rips out of your hand as you're riding, but doesn't cut through the tree. Just kind of hits the ground as you're riding by. Too many actions at once.
Yep.
Okay. So things are starting to get under control at least. And your pot of gruel that you were cooking is now boiling over.
My food!
What is everyone doing?
I'm going to try to help Century get his food in control.
Alice is still attempting to calm dogs.
Make another animal handling check. It's at disadvantage because the chaos has not stopped since that started. Oh my god! Oh.
I've never seen a roll that bad. I've never seen that.
Oh my god!
You're trying to get the dogs to come out to you, and they're doing the opposite. They're like backing out the other side of the cart, and they start to they're getting closer and closer to the fire as they do, and realizing the heat is there. Like the first one turns, sees the flaming tree, and starts to run, and they start scattering. There are dogs all over this hill.
I'm gonna go chasing after one of the dogs to try to get it and calm
Sure.
it down. Do I also roll animal handling then?
Yes. You, Lucy, you find a couple of the dogs, and you scoop one up under each arm, like these big dogs, and you're kind of wrestling with them because they're huge, but they start to calm down and lick your face and like jump all over you, and you're not really getting them back to camp, but you've calmed them down enough with like your presence away from the flames and chaos that they're just kind of like attacking you with affection.
I'll open psychic communications to Talus to let him know that I got 2 of his dogs under control.
Okay. For 5 hours.
You're in my brain now. I think this is the first time this has happened.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of it. But, what happened with the other folks?
I don't know. I'm busy with these 2, but I got 2 of them.
Okay, that's good. But I need to get my other folks.
Yeah, good luck. I'll keep an eye out.
Going off to look for his dogs.
Oh, poor Talus. Talus, you go...
Alice's state is too synced up to the dogs, so when they got freaked out, he got freaked out, and his attempts to calm them completely failed.
Yeah, oh yeah. The more freaked out you got, the more freaked out they got, and it was just like, well, he's the alpha, and he's getting freaked out, so it must be scary. Eventually, you're able to corral all of the animals and the skeletons and the entire entourage of pets back into some semblance of calm, and everybody like regroups around this like bubbling pot of gruel that has like spilled half its contents as it overboiled, well, you're looking around at the mess that is your camp. Bedrolls are everywhere, and your things that were on your cart have kind of like fallen over and are on the ground. And Talus, once the dogs are all together, like some of you are like stuffing the skeletons back inside the barrels, trying to get everything back together. And Kolok, you survey the battlefield that you have created.
So sorry about that. I had an interesting dream that awoke something in me that I usually am able to keep suppressed. And that didn't really happen this morning.
Sentry's over there stomping out the embers so that it doesn't create a wildfire.
I believe that I was as insane as this sounds. I believe that Morrigan actually communicated with me in my dream.
What did she say?
She held up the spear, and she pointed to the feathers near its tip. And she looked at me and told me that they are way more important than I could possibly know.
Feathers.
Yes.
Maybe they're like magic feathers. That's my insight on this.
Oh yeah, they're magic feathers. I mean, I've been reading a book about it. They're the feathers of her very own messengers. But what does she mean it's more important? I already thought it was important.
No, we know the spear is important. It's the feathers on the spear. She thinks those are even more important than the spear itself. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, getting the spear is already one of our top priorities, so once we get that, we can check out the feathers.
Yeah, maybe. Regardless, I believe we have a job to do, and there is a frightened village that likely saw a little fire out here.
It is possible. So if you do desire an outlet, next time I would rather it be taken out on a fellow warrior than any sort of nearby wildlife.
No. I can't do that.
And if you need
Sentry,
help getting under control,
I don't expect you to understand, but when I'm like that, when that happens to me, I'm not me anymore. So I can't guarantee any sort of safety for anyone that I were to let that out on. If I were to fight you or anybody else in the group, I could do permanent damage. I could kill you before I would be able to get a hold of myself. And I am not going to risk that.
guarantees of safety are the fallacy of mortals. We need to move.
Alice is just sitting on the ground covered in dogs, by the way. He has just pulled all of his dogs as close as possible.
Lucy has dropped the other two dogs on top of him.
Oh, it's okay, buddies. It's okay. He's not mad anymore. No more fire. It's fine.
Wow, wait a minute. He's so Russian. He's okay, buddies. Yeah.
Packing up the camp. You guys.
Was anything damaged?
Nothing was damaged beyond repair. Everything's just kind of a mess. Like the cart just spilled over. It wasn't damaged permanently in any way. Maybe some superficial repairs will need to be made. But you can still drive it at least the hour to get into town. The wheels and axles still seem to be intact.
I look up and I look around. What is the smoke situation? If there's any lingering in the air.
Coming off the hill?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a decent amount, right? You basically sent up a signal, like a smoke signal, for a little while. But it's not continuing. It's not like a continuous boil of smoke.
Right, but if I had to guess, just total guess, how high does it dissipate?
I don't know. You're up on a hill, right? So Anything for a few miles would be able to see it.
All right. So odds are pretty good that the army didn't see it then.
Depending on which route they're taking, probably not. They're still like a day away, right? So
Yeah,
probably not.
yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
We need to get moving. Ty, Lucy, Dallas, Kolok, are you all okay?
Yeah.
I am now.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Kolok?
Yeah, I'm fine. Now.
You guys roll
Excellent.
into Odrifell an hour later. The town is quiet as you do. I'll move to the map of the town. See if this still looks the way that I had made it look. There we go.
Those really are some flammable looking houses, huh?
Yep.
Do we know if the Reddenburg force that we're with has any spellcasters with them?
I don't think we know that.
Yeah.
Was that in character?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not believe that we know that.
They have Wilhelmina, but beyond that, I have no idea.
If their special forces unit is any indication, then we can expect a ratio of between 2 and 3 spellcasters per 10 soldiers.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mathematically speaking, that would provide us with an enemy component of 18 spellcasters.
As you move into town, through these palisades, you see where those, where that like cart and boxes are set up on the map. It looks like the people of town have started gathering their things in that area, on carts and wagons, set to leave town. There's nobody, people aren't really hustling and bustling at this point in the morning. You see a few people standing there loading things onto a cart, though.
I'm just going to take us right to this statue.
Okay. Go ahead and you can put your tokens out there.
This is pretty much to scale, right?
Yeah. Yep, it's pretty accurate to scale.
Seems they already had the idea of leaving, but they need to be quicker about it.
Well, we did send a runner here approximately 3 days ago.
See that they are taking our advice.
Indeed, but I agree with Kolok. They need to move with more purpose.
They've only got today to get out of here.
I'm gonna go ahead and move to this blue building and knock on the door.
The blue building appears to be both a temple and a municipal building of some kind. As you approach it, it has there are no steps leading up. There's not a lot of pomp and circumstances about this building. It's just kind of a big stone building with a big wooden door on the front. And when you knock on it, there is a number of minutes pass by before somebody comes to the door in fairly modest, but kind of a little more official-looking garb. It's not just like it's probably some kind of town official.
We are the ones who sent the runner to inform you ahead of time.
Thank you. Oh. He's kind of like looking under your helmet, trying to see your face. What?
Don't worry about him. He's Exo Sentry, my lieutenant.
Whoa. And you are?
Kolok. Boss Kolok of the Kolok's Krushers.
Boss, I believe it might be best for our communications officer to deal with this situation.
Lucy!
Okay, I'm coming.
I just want to give a quick thank you to Dreaded DM and Jeanette Mocha for raiding us with a party of 16 people. That's pretty amazing. Thank you so much. We will be sure to get you back when we have the opportunity to do so. Yeah, keep hitting us with the raids, guys. Keep hitting those emojis. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And while Lucy comes over, I'm going to go ahead and help people load cards.
Okay. Lucy, you use your psionic talents to tap into this guy's head. Is that... or no, that's from Talus earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm just talking.
All right. He seems really like freaked out by Kolok and Sentry. He's never really seen a Dragonborn before, and especially considering the bloodthirstiness of your boss, you can tell why he might be a little shaken by that.
Hi, I'm Lucy. It's nice to meet you. Don't worry about them. They're both real nice, I promise.
Okay. I'm Mayor Pfeiffer. They said you're the ones who sent the dwarven runner to have us prepare?
Yes. Just so you know, the main army that's coming to raid this place is just a day behind us. We did our best to get out here to warn you of that.
Much of the town is already gone. We're just gathering up what goods are left to get the rest out of here. This is the third tax they have levied against us this month.
Oh, that's really mean.
They
How much longer until the rest of your people are able to get out of here?
this morning we were trying to get them out of here today. Maybe a couple of hours.
Were you able to gather as many supplies as possible? Is there anything left in the town that you weren't able to get?
Well, there's still some holy items to Thormodin in the temple that are essentially built into the place. I'm sure they won't have any reason not to rip them out now.
Sentry, can you go see about potentially removing these holy things? I think we might have lost him.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Chris.
Very well. I stomp right on past the guy and go right into the building.
Be careful.
Don't destroy them, just remove them.
Given enough time, they are one and the same. But I will try.
There are only about 20 people left in town. They're going to take the rest of these wagons out. What if they follow the wagons?
They won't. Not if you guys get out of here quickly enough. They won't be able to know where exactly you went. By the way, for our sake, where did you go?
I sent the town towards Drayen.
That might not be a bad idea. It's pretty far away from Ridgeford, I think. Way down to the south, right? Past the lake?
Yes. I hear there's water and food there.
There might be. Be careful. And try and get out of here as quickly as possible. We'll try and see if there's anything here that's important that we can protect. In the meantime, so long as all of the homes don't have anything of much value. I don't really care if they get a little bit of gold, but it's food and supplies that I don't want them to get a hold of.
The runner said... He kind of he's shaken, so he's having trouble formulating sentences, and he takes a deep breath and draws himself up. I told this young girl here, this is the third time they're coming to town. They have slowly been taking everything we have. We've emptied out everything we could.
I know. And for what it's worth, you're making the right decision here. Moving everybody. We were worried that you might try and mount some sort of militia defense or something. So we came a little bit ahead of time to make sure that you guys actually left as opposed to that.
I tried, but most people were too frightened. And already demoralized from their constant taxation. I'm staying.
What? No, you have to go.
I'm staying.
Listen to me. They will kill you. Do you understand that?
I have something for them that I need to deliver to them myself.
We couldn't deliver it to them for you?
He, even in his frightened state, he continues to try to steel himself. And he says, No. They need to hear from me, as the mayor, that they can't just take whatever they want.
Listen. If you go and you tell them to their face whatever speech you have prepared, they're going to make us kill you. Do you understand that?
Will you?
I might be able to get out of it. After all, you're just one man. But you shouldn't die for this. It's a pointless death.
We've been working really hard to get in with the enemy so that we can take them from the inside out. It's been a long project, but we're making progress. It's not going to be like this forever. You should live to see when it's better.
I don't mind fighting for what you believe in. I don't mind that at all. I find it admirable. I do. But this would be a pointless death. They'll get that message just by seeing this empty village. Hell, if you want, we'll torch the place of what remains. That way they won't get a handle on anything at all. Not even a little bit of wood. But listen, if you die, that is an intelligent person who made a very tough but correct choice for the entirety of this town. Gone. They still need you.
Make a persuasion roll.
Can I get an aid from Lucy on that?
Yes, she did. She is there talking with you, so yes, absolutely. I wanted them to stay and fight. I wasn't the one who convinced them that leaving was better. I was a poor mayor, but I can do this for them. Let me at least do this. At least... It's just something I need to do. Once I say what I...
Sounds like you're... Oh, sorry.
Once I deliver my message to them, I will try to run. But it needs to be said.
You do understand this is suicide.
So be it. Someone needs to stand up to them.
We're going to. We're gathering people. That's literally the plan. This is the pointless death. It doesn't say anything that they won't already get from looking at your town. You... Kolok just like grabs his shoulders.
Can I hear this conversation?
No, you're inside trying to take this like big, like 3-foot tall iron and jewel encrusted hammer that is embedded into the stone wall of the temple out of the wall.
Ooh, do you want me to give you a strength check for that?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, sounds good.
I just start shaking him up by his shoulders. You don't understand. What is going to be accomplished by you dying? Nothing. What are you going to tell them? They're not already going to understand by the time they get here. Nothing. This is a pointless death. Do you not understand that if you're going to fight for something, you got to make sure that it's for a reason? Not
I have a reason. And believe me, what I'm going to deliver them, they won't be able to ignore. But it has to be me.
You're being extremely vague. Can you at least say what you're going to say to them? Because then maybe we can help you. Like, I can teleport. I could potentially even teleport you out of there. But I want us to work together.
He nods. You're not really with them?
No.
No, we really don't like them.
Kolok, I could use your help in here.
He
All right, Lucy.
pulls a bag out of his tunic and drops 3 gems into his hand. They glow with elemental power. These are my message.
Are those going to hurt the army?
Yes, they are.
I make an Arcana check to tell what those are.
Sure. I need to deliver these. And see what is wrought by them. If that brings my destruction, then so be it.
We're planning to wipe out the army that comes here. I'm a little bit concerned because we currently have a friend there who's also on our side, but currently with them. I don't want her to get hurt.
Can you warn her?
Potentially, but it's still a danger.
Talus, you've heard of these things before. Those gems, you think they contain this bound elementals.
Here, I thought they would just be pearls of fireball or something like that. This is much more fun.
I spent what little I had left to do this. Please let me do this one thing for my town. One thing right for them.
What do they do exactly?
I summon evil spirits. I have seen it used before to protect my people. Once.
He puts them back inside the bag and tucks the bag back inside his tunic.
And is there no way to set these up ahead of time so you could leave before they go off? It would still send a message, even if you weren't there.
They don't work like that. At least the arcanist who sold them to me. That's not how he said they worked.
Okay. And you insist on doing this yourself? We can't do it for you? Or...
I won't risk somebody else.
What if I could tell one of the army's own to do it for you?
How would you do that?
I have certain magics that can't make people do what I want. And if they do not know that what I want is a danger to them, then there is no threat that their will stop it.
And if your magic fails, then they have one of these items.
I could always set them off as well. Like I said, I can teleport. So
I want to see it done.
you could do it from a very safe distance on a hill.
How strong does this guy look?
I mean, he's just a town mayor. You guys can make another strength check if Kolok is helping you. It could be either one of you, and you have advantage from help.
I'm gonna help Kolok. Kolok can make it with advantage.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys pry it out of the wall, cracking the wall around it a little bit, like stone breaks away and chips off, crumbles to the ground around you, and you have this, it looks like a warhammer, but it's like 3 or 4 times the size. It is not wieldable as a weapon. It is completely off balance. It is totally a decoration.
I'm gonna go ahead and carry it out to the cart and lay it in the back of the cart, draping my blanket that I never use over it.
Okay.
Even if you were large enough to use it, it'd probably break in the first strike.
Oh yeah, especially if it's just like a decoration.
Yeah, it's iron and covered in jewels. It's like one uniform piece. There's like no like wrappings around the handle or anything. It's just one big metal casting. He is adamant that this is something he needs to do himself. He needs to look the commanding officer in the eye when he gives them this message of basically, fuck you for doing this to my town. Like, he is adamant about it.
I guess sending to Lucy to ask what is the holdup.
Callus also wants to send a message to Lucy since we still have a psionic connection, so she's going to get a lot of messages.
Lucy will reply to Century that the mayor currently wants to see the army face to face so that he can give them a deathly send-off.
And Callus is going to ask Lucy into her mind, could you ask Bosk Kolok if I have permission to enchant this man to give us the gems and flee the town?
Sure. And yeah, I guess I'll peek into the inside to get a look at Kolok and ask him that question.
Lucy, I need you to make a wisdom save.
My.
Okay, not my best save. Hey, pretty good.
you're getting a voice in your head from Century, and you're getting a voice in your head from Talus, and you suddenly switch over to Kolok, and you're making this switch again, and for the briefest moment, you hear Lucy's real voice trying to say something, but it's just a subtle little whisper in your mind.
Can I hear anything of what she said?
No, it was like it was trying to break through with all the other voices that were coming into your head, and you just kind of like shove down Lucy again and maintain control.
Yeah, Lucy like shudders and like her eye goes wide. She goes, "Oh, that was the worst brain freeze of my life." Oh my god.
And you make your connection to Kolok inside the temple.
Hey Kolok, Talus wanted to know if he was allowed to use a spell to persuade the mayor to give over the stones and flee town against his will, but kind of not against his will because he's under a spell. Yeah.
How long would that enchantment last, is my question.
I guess I'll go ask, and then I'll switch it back. Hey Talus, how long would this last?
8 hours.
And then I'll switch it back. 8 hours, Kolok.
Yeah.
You sound like you're in a plane turbine, bro.
Sorry.
That's all good.
Yeah, as in it's okay?
Yeah, go ahead and let him do it. I'm not going to abide by the mayor wishing to do something stupid. I don't care if it's his wish.
Okay. Yeah, so, hi Talus. You got the go-ahead on that. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do this. Oh, that should say 1d8 now.
Okay. You restore it to a d8. Exhausted. Mentally exhausted. And you know that you almost lost control for just a second.
I'm not doing that again. For someone talk to me. I just say that out loud in front of the mayor.
The mayor has been standing there just kind of staring at this pouch that he keeps putting in and out of his tunic, and he's not even really paying attention to you, and you're not saying anything. You're just talking in your head, and all of a sudden you say that out loud, and he looks up at you quizzically, like, what is wrong with these people?
Alice is going to look at the mayor, now that he has received his permission slip. He's going to say, "You seem a good man. You seem a brave man. But the needs of the individual are much outweighed by the needs of the tribe. And the tribe needs you to live, and the tribe needs those gems." And he casts suggestion. So he has to make a wisdom saving throw.
He succeeds.
Oh. So he succeeds. Yeah, and I think as part of the spell, Talus has to say what he wanted him to do. So he's going to say, "Give me the gems and flee the town."
He looks directly at you. I'm trying to see. It doesn't specifically say that he knows that you are trying to charm him. He just looks at you straight away and says, "I will do no such thing. My mind is made up. I'm sorry. You want to force me out of here?"
from the dead. You don't get it. If you want to not die, I would have. You don't have 300 gold worth of diamonds, do you?
Sure.
Just like.
Sir,
Yes.
at the very least, will you allow me to escort you to the enemy forces so you may deliver your message in person?
I would.
What if
Very well. Come with
what
me.
if once he summons his things and does the stuff, I can teleport in, and before anyone recognizes that it's me or what I'm doing, I can grab him and teleport out.
You mean with the teleport spell that makes the giant noise that they've seen you before?
Yes.
I see.
Did he? Okay, I'll let you respond. I offered to take him to them right now.
Oh, you want to
That's
take
just
me
what
to...
Century said. Yeah.
You want to take me to them now? Aren't they
Yes.
coming here?
Precisely.
Isn't the whole idea to get the rest of the people out of town before they get here?
Exactly.
This will
And
provide.
you're-
This will delay them even further.
All right. If it will slow them down, then yes.
So I'm gonna start walking with him out of the town.
Okay, he'll walk beside you.
Okay. Once we're out of the town, full round attack.
Okay, make your attacks. Are you trying to subdue
Attacking
him?
No.
Are you executing him then?
Yep.
Sam?
Alright.
Can we see this happening, or are you already out of sight?
Where
I
are
don't
you?
know if you guys followed me. After we left the town. I don't know if you guys came with me.
Where outside of town are you going? Put your token
Right out-
exactly where you are.
Right outside the gate, right there.
Okay.
Everybody else is busy picking shit up.
I'm loading up the giant Thormodin hammer in the carts. So
You're gonna just attack this dude.
I'm just gonna execute him. Yep.
Okay, make your attacks. He's dead.
I grab the gems. And I'm going to dispose of the body.
Century's alignment again? Just a random question.
Where are you putting the body?
I am in the woods.
You're just gonna drag it away from town somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a survival roll to cover the tracks of the blood streaks and everything else that is gonna come with you carrying this guy out away from town after murdering him with a giant sword.
Is that a good roll?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
You come back after an hour or so of dealing with the bloody mess that you created. Are you...
Hi, Shuri. How you doing? Where's the mayor?
His message has been delivered.
you didn't meet with them by now. They're still way far out. You've only been gone for maybe an hour.
We will discuss this after everyone has evacuated.
Century.
You'll have to do insight checks on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go for it. I'll make a deception roll.
I don't think you were being deceptive. All you said was we'll talk
Yeah.
about it after everybody... There's no... I don't even know if there's an insight check
Did he
needed.
say that he delivered his message?
Yeah, that was a lie. That's easily determined
That's
to be
what
a
I
lie.
was referring to.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the fact that he delivered his message is an obvious lie. That the army's too far away. Like, what Kolok said is 100% correct. But him saying we'll discuss it later, he's clearly hiding whatever happened. I don't even know if there's a need for insight and deception in this situation. Like, it's an obvious lie and then an obvious shutdown of the conversation.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
let's take a quick break here, as you're helping the last of the people get their stuff together to get out of town, and we'll be right back.
Oh man, fuck.
Okay. The people of the town have finished loading up the last train of wagons and head out of the village in order to travel to the city of Drayen, hoping to find food, water, and shelter when they arrive. And so this empty village is left to the five of you.
So I've got a practical question. Are they traveling on the road that goes south?
That seemed to be their plan, yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's because we don't have much time. The army will be here tomorrow, and probably a military unit can travel a lot faster on the road than these disorganized villagers can. And we may want some kind of, what's our story? Are we going to try to cover their tracks? How do we distract the army from just, hunting them down on the road? I don't know.
The army was prepared for a 2.5 for a 5-day journey, coming to this village and leaving. They're not going to get any supplies from this village because it's already going to be moved, so they don't have the ability to track them down right now. They might try and track them down at a later time, but they don't have the resources right now to do so. And if they do, by the time they actually get there, they're going to be going to a whole other town that they're going to have to deal with. One that's much bigger than any of these little villages. They're just going to let it go, cut their losses. It's not worth it. Not to just go and kill a bunch of villagers that aren't going to be giving them anything in the first place. Not when they're going to be losing a whole heck of a lot of people in the process. So long as these guys end up leaving before the guys get here, they don't have much of an option.
Does everybody agree with that assessment?
Also, cover the tracks, mold the earth to look as though no one had traveled in any direction recently except where we came in.
Oh, that's smart.
I could even send my skeletons out to help cover the tracks further along the road in case they were looking particularly hard.
Sentry is sitting on the cart quietly.
I will point out, though, there's going to be one major issue we're going to have moving forward, and that is that we are on the one mission that is going to inevitably fail. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be suspicious of us having actually done anything, but it does mean that they're probably going to put other people on future missions to other villages, and they might make us do something different. So, we need to get a report as to all the other villages that are currently outside of Reddenburg that are still raidable or lootable or anything along those lines, and send them similar messages that they are going to be on the list.
Do you think perhaps there is a physical list? Could we try to steal it?
There might be, but I have a guess that that's probably in the actual keep at Reddenburg, which is not something we have access to at the moment. It's kind of part of the reason that we're there.
You know, I thought I may as well ask.
Then again, we might still at the very least be able to get some sort of map of Reddenburg's territory to get an idea of all the different small villages that are under its purview.
Well, you have some time until the army shows up. What is your plan over the course of the next day?
Maybe cover the tracks and then kind of make camp outside the town so it looks like we haven't gone in yet? Or...
Well...
Yeah.
Should we burn the village to the ground?
What were you going to say, Ty?
Or make it simply be abandoned?
Yeah, burning... I seem to recall that we had recovered some goblinoid arrows, and we had discussed last time possibly burning the villages and making it look like the goblins did it.
We should get to work then. And I summon my crossbow.
Get as many of these places burned down as possible. Everybody else in the village has left at this point, right?
That was the plan. Yep.
We'll check all the houses before we burn them. I'll run around real
just to
quick.
double check and make sure there's not like a small child just like, I don't know where anybody went. Like, we don't need that.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check just to, as you're moving around the town, making sure
Is that everybody?
Anybody who's searching for people. Okay.
I like how many of us are bad at investigation.
Like everybody has a -1. Except for Century and Talus. You guys start moving house to house, checking for stragglers. The houses are as empty as you can expect. There's no people, and most of the things have been rapidly emptied out of these village homes.
Any livestock?
They have been taken as well.
Okay.
The sense of emptiness in this place, this shell, this ghost town, becomes just kind of more and more daunting as you travel from house to house. And it really begins to sink in how much this army is draining the life from the entire surrounding area as you do this. Just the number of displaced people as you go through the village. After a couple of hours, you reconvene in the center of town, sure that the place is empty of all life, except, once again, for the 5 of you.
Yeah, after Sentry clears a house, he sets it on fire with a torch or an arrow.
Okay. The village is starting to burn as Sentry makes very efficient work of this new job.
Hey, Talus, could you move Earth to maybe dig a fire pit around the outside or a fire break, so hopefully we don't catch the surrounding grassland?
Very well. Seems a wise decision. And Talus is going to head out and start doing that outside the wall, because that also appears to be made of wood, so as to contain the flames somewhat.
Okay. You start on the side that Sentry has already started lighting on fire and make your way around the town. This is what you spend the rest of this day doing. Searching the town, lighting the buildings on fire, and digging a trench to prevent the spread of the flames.
One other thing, Talus is going to send his skeletons to go along the road and kind of just mess with the tracks, to do just their best to cover the tracks, because he figures he can just send them out and then have them come back when it's like half the day has gone by.
Okay. They go out there and do the best that they can as skeletons to just kind of mess with the road.
Just a bunch of skeletons with brooms and stuff, like
just sweeping up the muddy roads. Probably very dry roads, honestly.
Very dusty, dirty, dry roads. Yeah. Yep. Okay. You burn the village. You shoot some of the goblin arrows or stick them into the burnt embers of houses.
all of them.
All of them. How many did you have?
Mm-hmm.
I
We
have
should
60.
full statue.
You have what?
60.
Okay. And what'd you say, Talus?
We should topple the statue. Perhaps even deface it, to suggest this was done by someone who does not respect the town.
Yeah, sure.
Strength rolls. Kolok, Ty and Lucy kind of make a show of force in trying to topple the statue, but you just kind
I'm
of
just trying to kick it.
rip the whole thing down. And it crashes and part of it breaks off as it does. This is kind of a terrible thing to have happen. There's just this sense of, like, utilitarianness to the whole endeavor.
Utilitarian's my middle name, so that sounds great.
What was the statue of again? Was it their god?
No, it was of some town elder, some warrior that they dedicated the town to. The plaque is kind of faded and worn at this point.
May your name live on in the hearts of the village.
And Sentry probably spends the last hour of the day cooking dinner for the group.
Okay.
As he finishes cooking dinner, Kolok's going to gather everybody around and go, so, Sentry, about the mayor.
He is
What
no
happened?
longer a factor.
What happened?
Sort of uncomfortably, which is odd because he knows that this was not the ideal. Sentry looks at the group and tells them, I killed him.
What? Like, killed?
Yes.
I would like to go around the campfire, and when he says that, what is each individual reaction?
And Kolok
She looks like she's barely holding it in.
Kolok is just kind of like, he's folded his claws together and he's just staring at Sentry, like waiting for him to explain himself.
Talus?
Has an expression that goes from kind of perplexed to almost just annoyed until it turns suddenly, and he just looks angrier than perhaps you have ever seen him, and he just asks, "Where is the body?"
And Ty?
Do not worry, Talus. The bones.
Hold on,
were
Sentry.
kept intact.
Ty, what's your reaction?
Well, let's see here. So Ty seems pretty calm, like he's just kind of like listening to this, but he's inside. He's really wondering if his place is with this group still.
Sentry.
Where is the body?
I will show you after I explain. Because I can... Well, my insight's pretty high, so I take it that it's pretty easy for him to pick up on all of this.
Probably for most of us. Ty is probably harder to read than everybody else, but we're all the rest of us are pretty much like being very clear that we're very upset with you right now.
I'm setting a
Active
DC.
insight's 15.
Okay. Ty is unreadable right now.
Okay.
But everybody else's expression is plain on their face. Kolok is just waiting for you to explain further. Talus is visibly angry. Lucy is trying to hold in her emotion.
Considering how poorly negotiations were going in our attempts to dissuade the mayor from a foolhardy and ultimately suicidal endeavor, I elected to eliminate the only problem that would risk both blowing our cover and undoing the work we attempted to do here today.
You have denied a warrior his fight. You have taken a life that would have fallen in glory and denied that of him. You. And Talus is just kind of, he switches over to Giant at some point, and you just cannot understand, but he is just ranting at you at this point.
Kolok's going to wait for everybody else to speak their piece first. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say to Century? Very well. Century, my plan, as far as the mayor was concerned, if we weren't able to convince him to abandon his foolhardy quest, was, in a similar sense, to knock him out, place him with the rest of the villagers, and have them take him off. I was upset because of the pointlessness of his death. You have also taken it into your own hands as to what you're going to do. You did not consult with me or anyone else in the group before deciding to just go and this is the way it is, straight up murder the mayor. He did not deserve that by any means. And there were ways to avoid this. And you took it upon yourself to... Point being, never, ever do something like this without consulting us again. He stands up, his tails just swing behind him. Technically speaking, the boss of this group. But I don't give orders based on nothing. And I consult with all of you as if your opinions matter, because they do. You separated yourself from the rest of us doing that today. And I will never tolerate that happening again. And he sort of walks towards Century. And I'm going to make sure you remember that this was a mistake, regardless of how reasonable you think this decision was. The fact is, you never, ever make this decision without us. And he puts his claw on Century's face and just scratches down, creating a large claw mark on his faceplate.
Before that happens, I think it's only fair that if you put your hand on Century's face, I need to know what Century's response to that is going to be.
Doesn't do anything. He's steeled himself for the consequences of his actions.
Okay. Your solid sheen of metal is now scarred by Dragonborn claws.
Dope.
Now, that being said and that out of the way, for the foreseeable future, until I say differently, you are never to be off on your own doing anything. There will always be at least one of us with you, wherever you go, whatever you do. Until I say differently. Is that understood?
Affirmative.
Anybody else?
There is the body.
The body is approximately 45 meters outside the city gates.
Lead me to it.
Very well.
Everybody gets an inspiration point.
I already had one. Damn it.
So did I.
I don't think I've used any of mine.
I've been holding this thing for like 5. I could have used it on the reroll for that one. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sentry gets up and starts leading Talus to the body. What do the rest of you do when that happens?
Would anyone like to
Lucy
say
looks pretty
anything?
inconsolable.
Would anyone like to say anything while Century is gone? If you'd like to share concerns.
I think Ty's just gonna walk over to his tent, and I think tonight at bed he is actually going to he's going to sit down and actually start reading Shepherd Theo's book for real.
Okay.
Lucy, are you going to be okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna be just fine. Thanks, Kolok.
If you need to talk about anything, that's one of my jobs.
She tries to give a half smile at him.
Kolok will sort of stand up again and roll his shoulders. We need to be up early in the morning. Reddenburg Army is going to be here, and they're going to have questions, and we need to have answers. I imagine everyone's going to be very angry with Century for a very long time moving forward. It's understandable, but we have to bear in mind that there is a greater mission to play here. And whether or not Century learns his lesson, it's still important that we remember we are here to save a lot of people. God damn it.
Lucy, as you sit there and think about what Century did, he led that man out of town and murdered him. Flashes of images of what happened to Nethy, to real you, kind of connect with that. Century.
Lucy
Oh, go ahead,
looks
Lucy.
very... Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that Lucy looks very out of it. She's kind of holding herself and seems to almost be somewhat dissociating.
You kind of listen through Kolok's whole speech as Ty has gone to bed and Century and Talus walked off. And after Kolok checked on you, he starts talking about what you're here to really do. I don't know if you really hear it or not. Or if you're just... Did it penetrate through that gloom? Or...
Could I make a roll for it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think I would roll?
I think wisdom makes the most sense. As you disassociated, do you feel like you were actually, like, were Kolok's words just kind of like floating ethereally over you, or were they penetrating and...
Yeah, I think maybe at first I was able to, hear when he said there was someone to talk to, but when he started talking about the plans and moving on to other subjects, it just kind of, it drifted away from me.
Okay. Century, you lead Talus to the body of the mayor.
Oh, can I illustrate how he positioned the body?
Absolutely.
All right, so when Sentry killed him, it was a clean cut. Like, I'm taking the damage from both of those rolls as one strike.
Okay.
And just clean cut, head off, shoulders. And then he gathered the two pieces of the mayor and laid them in. It wasn't like they were just casually discarded. He's carefully covered them with like bits of foliage and such, so that it was basically impossible to see after
taking off like his robe, because I'm assuming that his robe had some sort of like filigree on it. So he basically took the guy's, like, a majority of the guy's clothes off, got him in earth tones, and then covered him in foliage
To hide the body.
to hide the body.
Okay.
Talus.
This is a decent way off the beaten path, by the way.
Right, of course.
Talus looks at this decapitated corpse, and he looks, honestly, when he sees that it's decapitated, he looks mostly annoyed. And he walks up to it, and he, like, kind of positions the head with the body as best he can, and he casts Gentle Repose, which is a spell that can preserve it for later resurrection, essentially. And he looks to Sentry and he says, "Where are the gems?
They are with me.
Give them to
What
me.
are they?
You do not get to know. Give them to me."
Very well.
And he will, once he gets them, he will say, "These gems contain spirits. I understand many here call them elementals. But they are spirits, and that is to me a sacred thing. And what he wanted to do, well, I did not agree. Well, I would have stopped him. It was, in a way, a sacred thing. And I will be bringing him back. He will live again."
That's one of your undead.
"No. I will be bringing him back. I will spend what diamonds I need. I will use what resources we could have used for something else. Kolok believes the scratch on your face is a consequence, but it is not. I will tell you the consequence. Until this man lives again, should you die, you will stay dead. You will not rise until this man rises. Do you understand?"
I understand that you will do what you believe is right, as have I. But I also understand the ramifications of your statement. Do keep in mind that though your disgust with me is patently clear, it does not affect how I view this group and how I view you. Your disgust is warranted, and as such I will take it under advisement. But you must understand that none of my decisions have been made without the consideration of the group as a whole. In tow.
I believe this.
And for the record, I would never expected to make use of the diamond that I gave you money to purchase. I believe this is a fair trade.
I understand that the needs, as I said to this once man, the needs of the tribe outweigh the needs of the individual. You sought to protect the tribe, but you have done something I do not think you grasp. I do not hate you for this, but it will not be forgiven in much time. Not because of myself, but because it cannot be. Not yet. Not for
Talus,
some.
with all due respect, I do not believe you nor any of the members of our group fully grasp the ends at which I have been
forced to enforce. This was regrettable, and I regret it. But only as a direct consequence, only as a direct result of the influence this action has had on our group dynamic. Nothing more.
Then you have learned nothing. And then Talus leaves.
Right.
Actually, he picks up the body himself and the head, and he brings them back.
Okay.
To be fair, Sentry will probably carry the body if allowed to.
He is not.
It'd be hard to carry a body, and well, I guess if he slung it over his shoulder.
Talus, what are you doing?
Never mind.
Yeah, Talus slumps it over his shoulder and holds the head in the other hand, and just walks back.
Okay. When you get back, the rest of the group would have. Well, Kolok, are you waiting for them to get back, or have you gone to bed? Same with Lucy. I know Ty already did.
I think Lucy would sit by the fire at least until it goes out.
Okay. What about Kolok?
Kolok is getting some rest for the evening.
Okay.
He's upset, but he knows he needs to get some rest because there's a lot of shit to do the next day.
Sure. Okay. Then Sentry and Talus, you come walking back up out of the darkness. Lucy, you're just kind of staring at the embers as they burn down. So please shut up. Sorry. The music just turned to an ad. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
So the two of you stroll up. Lucy, you're kind of just staring at the embers of the fire as they burn down when Sentry and Talus return.
Yeah, Talus is just going to bring the body into his tent or wherever he's staying.
Okay.
Lucy, you should try and get some rest.
I think she just kind of gives Sentry a half glance, but then just kind of looks back at the fire wordlessly.
You hate me as well.
I wasn't ready for that.
Which is why I would never ask you to do such a thing.
Please go.
What's that?
Go. I don't...
No.
It's too
I
much.
didn't ask if you said.
Sentry didn't ask. Chris asked. Chris didn't
Oh,
hear.
sorry.
Asked. Sorry, my bad. What did you say? Did you say be still?
No, she said please.
Please go.
Oh, please don't.
Please go.
Okay. Oh, please go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sentry returns to the cart and will sit with the hammer of Thormodon, reading his book.
The next morning is quiet as everyone awakens. There's a kind of an unspoken, unsettled feeling as you prepare for the army's arrival.
Breakfast.
The fucking after that night, you got Century breakfast, everybody.
I still got a job. Hey, it was
Also,
better than
I
yesterday.
think Lucy would have tried to stay awake for as long as she could have. I think she was a little scared of falling asleep. Would that have given her any kind of exhaustion or
Give me a Constitution roll.
a Constitution save?
Yes,
Or
Constitution save. Yes. You wake up numb, but not exhausted.
okay.
Okay.
So I still would have gotten the benefits of a rest.
You do.
Okay.
You stay up as long as you can. At some point, you fell asleep, and you wake up. You wake up by the fire pit, like outside. You didn't even go back to your tent. At some point, you
With
just
a
kind of fell asleep where you were sitting.
With the blanket on her, by the way.
You awaken with a blanket on you that you did not get yourself. Century is already preparing the the breakfast fire, as you awaken.
Kolok will kind of survey the camp that we've made to see how everyone's doing. I think I'll probably have checking in on Talus. I might notice he has a new dead body with him.
Oh yeah, there's a body in his tent. He slept with it, apparently.
Gross.
Talus.
But not very far away. Yes.
Is that the mayor?
Yes.
You know I don't question the things that you do, but could you maybe hide that from everybody?
Put it in the barrel.
I don't think Ty and Lucy would want to see that.
I have handled the smell already.
Yes.
It may indeed actually be a valuable bargaining chip.
Century would be a really good idea if you shut the fuck up for the next couple of days.
No social cues.
I am going to bring back the mayor when I can.
Ty, you spent some time reading the journal of your mentor. And it starts the day he took over the shrine that you had, where you had trained under him. And the first line of, or the first page of his journal starts with, "Nobody really understands Nadara the way that I do. I try to tell them, but they don't listen. They have sent me here to this shrine, far from the reaches of the heart of Nadara's teachings, because they think that it will keep me quiet. But they're wrong." And that's kind of the start of the journal. And then it goes on to talk about what his plans are for the shrine that he was placed in charge of.
Okay. Yeah, I would expect that some of those things he probably actually did by the time that I was there.
Sure.
He's been there for a while, but there were probably still a few, big plans that life has a way of getting in the way of on a projects like this that are maybe still in there. So I think I'll probably just leaf through some of these plan ideas and just sort of reflect on that and kind of sleep on it after getting to that point.
Okay. What do you do in the morning? Because I know that you went off to be by yourself because you're not really sure about what to do with all of this. Where's Ty the next morning as everybody's gathering? Lucy's kind of waking up on the ground. She's got leaves in her hair, and Century is cooking as if nothing has changed, besides the scars on his face. Kolok is helping Talus with another barrel, loading it up onto the cart.
Well, I think I will spend some time taking care of the horses and just break camp like our normal morning routine, because there is sort of an inevitable ticking clock here of the army's arrival. So I'm kind of at least going to do business as usual.
Okay. Sure.
I wasn't able to get much out of Lucy from before, and Talus has his thing he's dealing with. Kolok will probably approach Ty about the night before, while he's probably getting his horse ready and such. He'll come over kind of scratching his head. Ty, I know that you have very strong values, and you're also pretty young for a human. If you need to talk about what happened, I'm willing to hear you out.
And so while I just kind of finish getting the horse ready, say, well, Sentry just followed what was in his nature, which is what I do. I can't be too mad at him for that. And you can't really control what's in someone else's nature, but you can control what you do with what's in your nature.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that he values all of us to a degree. I don't know exactly how much, it's hard to tell, but if we all are clear with where we stand on things, I think that affects whether or not he would do such a thing in the future. So, given the fact that you are very in tune with your beliefs and values, I think it would be good for you to make them clear in the future if you think that there is any sort of possible violation of those that will happen. Lucy, I'm not worried about. Talus, bit of a wild card, but for the most part his heart's in the right place. Century really fucked me up with this last one. But of course myself as well. I know I sometimes lose it. So, it's important for you to voice yourself as often as possible, okay?
Okay. When do you think the army's going to get here?
I can't really say for sure, but probably before lunch.
I don't want to be an outside voice saying, so what's your plan in the meantime? But what's your plan in the meantime? What are you setting up? What is your...
Well, we set up our camp. I guess the goal right now is to indicate that we approached. We saw that the town from a distance was like burning, so we just kind of like stayed away and just waited for the army to get there.
Alice is going to get rid of the trench he made to stop the fire, just so it doesn't look like it was supposed to be a controlled burn necessarily.
Understood.
I could scout the trail we think that they're going to take, and maybe meet Wilhelmina as she's scouting for them.
Not a bad plan. That way you can update her on everything that's happened. Might want to leave what Century did out of it for now. I don't think she needs to know that just yet.
Okay.
And Sentry's going to continue to read his book after making breakfast, whether or not anybody eats it.
Ty will have some breakfast.
Okay.
Alice eats the breakfast.
Kolok will hunt his own breakfast.
Nothing has changed.
I don't think he's gonna eat this morning.
Okay.
You eat breakfast. Talus undoes the trench. And Ty, you get ready to ride off and meet up with Wilhelmina as the army heads back. The rest of you prepare for their approach, getting your story straight as to what you're going to tell the captain when they arrive. Ty, it's... considering the army's only a half a day away, by the time you've traveled for about 2 hours, you catch up with Wilhelmina. She is coming down the main road towards Odrifell on Cloud, keeping an eye out. She spots you before you spot her, and she's just kind of waiting there for your arrival. She greets you when you get there.
I'll just think, hey, how far ahead are you of the army? How much time do we have?
About as far as I've been as we were traveling before. Same distance. What'd you guys get done?
Well, all the people are gone, and we burned the village to make it look like the goblins did it.
She kind of like, her eyes wide, like, oh, all right, well, guess that'll work.
And I don't want to have to do like a whole scene with Jess's character while she's not here, so we can like fast track through this and get to the.
Yep.
But
I just wanted to see what Ty's response would be to her asking what you did. So Ty has a way of being very straightforward in his responses, so I wanted to know what he said. So you guys head back with the army following behind. And Kolok, you see Ty and Wilhelmina approaching over the hill, over the hillside where you had originally made camp. Just about an hour. Ty left for 2 hours, and about an hour after that, you see them crest that hill where the burning tree still sits.
All right, look lively, everyone. That's Wilhelmina. Means the army's not far behind.
Ty and Wilhelmina catch up to you in about an hour after that, and the army is only about 100 yards or so behind them, cresting the hill and coming down. All 60 men with the officers riding their war horses out front. They see the town as they approach, and Captain Zerket pulls up to a halt, stopping his forces. What the hell happened here?
Well, Lucy, you want to go ahead and explain? Just to be clear, we would have explained the plan. Like, well, we saw the place burning, so we decided to stay out here, and blah, blah. So don't be specific about, like, we think hobgoblins did it.
Lucy said, the place was already on fire when we got here. It's been reduced to nothing. I don't know if there's anyone alive inside.
Looks like the fire's out now. Let's move in.
And we'll go ahead and move in with them.
I cast the message spell to Kolok.
Okay.
We still need to be paid for the troll.
I'm aware. We'll address that after we confirm that there's nothing in this town for them to get.
Lucy, I also need you to make a deception check against the captain.
I am also.
Oh God.
Oh, what? Why did you roll it? Oh, that was a concept.
Inspiration.
Oh yeah, can I use my inspiration? Or would that make it just one better?
I was gonna give you a inspiration. For a
Okay.
lie.
Nice.
But could I use the GM inspiration to give it advantage? Is that a thing I can do?
You can use a GM inspiration to give it advantage.
Just so that it's not a natural one. and then I guess I'll add the bardic inspiration on top of that.
Okay, add the bardic inspiration.
What is that, a D8?
D8.
D8.
Can't you also add your psionic die?
No. I don't have
Oh,
the
right.
thing
That's
with
just that's not what the wild. That's what the wild
So
talent does.
it's a 14 total.
Which is not terrible.
No, that's not horrible.
You move in.
Lucy probably looks shaken up if that helps.
That's true. You move into the town, and Captain Zerket tells the second to start splitting off the men into squads to search the houses. I don't like the look of this.
Neither do I. Even just glancing around, I can see this place looks like it was attacked.
If it was attacked, it was very systematic. Look. He looks around as the army is kind of moving into the center of the town. No signs of battle anywhere. Other than arrows here or there. No marching footprints. No horse hooves beyond an organized march out of town. Suspicious.
Could have been bandits, raiders. We have been experiencing hobgoblins in the region lately. Could have been them too.
No bodies strewn about the town. Do you know hobgoblins to leave a town with not a single soul left rotting on the ground?
You're right.
I hate to say it, but food's been scarce.
It's possible that they might have left already.
Alex. Wilhelmina, search for tracks. Captain Zerket kind of moves around the square, looking at the fallen statue. Only sign of vandalism is here, besides the burned houses. We'll see if the men find any bodies. Go ahead and help gather whatever supplies are left in the town.
Die. Sentry. Spread out, help them look for anything that might be useful. Anything at all.
All right.
Zerket looks unconvinced by the scene about him. Suspicious at the very least. He's not hiding his suspicion of what happened here. He hasn't blamed any of you. But between the lack of bodies, lack of signs of battle, he's suspicious.
Thoughts, Captain?
Have you fought hobgoblins?
A few times, yeah.
Have you seen them raid a town before? Oh, wait. You said you were in Ridgeford.
Yeah, saw it firsthand.
He kind of rides up to one of the houses. There's a few goblin arrows in the walls of this home. Sentry. Chris, you there?
He seems to have dropped out of the call, actually.
Okay.
Oh, I think he had a internet problem.
Okay. These arrows. Now, based on what Sentry told me, as he was checking house to house for survivors, he was burning the houses. The Captain Zerket looks around and says, "Look, these arrows have no scorch marks on them. They were shot into this house after it was burned."
After it was set on fire? Maybe. You know, one possible way that we could look into this. There's no bodies, which on its own is weird. Indicates to me that maybe the town was already evacuating, or evacuated, whenever this attack took place. It's possible that they evacuated first, the hobgoblins came, or whoever, tried to invade the place, saw there was nobody here, got frustrated, and just started destroying everything in sight. Hobgoblins generally like to employ regular goblins as well as bugbears on top of themselves. And bugbears and regular goblins, they're not exactly as methodical as the hobgoblins generally are. So, one, destruction, kind of part of their deal. Not making sense, well, those creatures don't make sense. When I was in Ridgeford, and they were attacking, they didn't really try to attack the villagers all that much, strangely enough. What they did do is they targeted anything that they thought might be useful. The temple, granary, things like that. So, it's a good possibility that they were trying to look for supplies here, found nothing, and decided to just burn it in spite of the village.
Tell me something. What were you doing in Ridgeford?
Me? I'm on pilgrimage. Well, I was. Hobgoblins kind of interrupted that.
Did you not work as mercenaries there?
We were. But we weren't an official group by then. Still somewhat new. When I arrived, all I knew was there was a temple to Morrigan there. And I'm a worshiper myself. War is kind of my thing, which is why I know a decent amount about these sorts of details. But while I was there, trying to indulge, hobgoblins started attacking people. So, by order of Morgan, decided to start striking back. Didn't end well. By the time we ended up coming back to this place, everybody else having decided to sign up with me, hobgoblins were all over the place. Just destroying everything in sight. Attacking people, burning things. So we did what we could to make sure that we could get paid for the job of taking care of the hobgoblins on the road. And then eventually, hobgoblins left, having taken whatever it is that they thought was useful.
You got paid for taking care of hobgoblins upon the road.
Not as much as I'd like. About 20 gold worth.
How many of these hobgoblins?
I want to say probably about 20 or so. If my estimates are right. Memory doesn't serve me too terribly well sometimes. Head kind of goes out whenever I'm in the middle of a fight.
Report back to me if your men find anything of value. And he kind of walks off with his horse, looking for his second in command and other soldiers, trying to find out if they're finding anything that's worth a damn in this burned town.
I will wait next to the toppled statue to see if anybody does end up finding anything useful, which they shouldn't.
No, nobody finds anything useful. The army searches the village for a good hour and find no survivors and nothing of use. Whatever was left of use has been destroyed in the fires. Well, this has been a wasted effort.
If you want, I can go ahead and send Ty along with your own Wilhelmina to see if we can find a way to track down where these villagers ended up evacuating to.
I would like that very much, actually.
Ty!
I'll come over.
You and Wilhelmina are going to go out and look for tracks. See if you can't find some way of tracking down where these villagers went.
Okay, boss.
I'll look back to the captain after nodding to Ty. We'll try and find what they can. But, I don't know. They likely have a head start.
You have a new mission, Kolok, and your Krushers.
Oh?
I will send Wilhelmina with you. I will deliver my instructions to her as well, individually. But as for you and your men, you will track down these villagers. And if they have what we require, teach them a lesson. Take everything and do with them whatever you wish. Leave them to die, or take care of them yourselves.
Find them on the road wouldn't be a problem. Honestly, it's a small village of villagers. They're not going to be able to fight back at all. Do have a question, though. If they manage to make it to, like, another city's territory, take refuge somewhere, maybe Twilight Hill or something, what do we do then?
Come back with something, or don't come back at all.
Right. Well, we'll at the very least come back with some knowledge for you. In the meantime, we burnt a troll to a crisp for you, and you agreed to a payment.
I did. He tosses you, or he has, Lieutenant, oh gosh, why do I always forget his name? Vornin. He has Lieutenant Vornin pay you again for this. see that our scout gets at least a small cut.
What about the contract that we were on for this? Obviously, it didn't end up going the way that you guys wanted, but we accompanied you like we were supposed to. Sure, you didn't end up getting anything, but we did our job.
You can take that up with... he says, you can take that up with Ondar when you return. He's the one you have the contract with, after all. He'll pay you out of the coffers.
Fine. What are we getting for this new job that you have assigned for us, though?
Aren't you getting paid by the day in the old contract?
We are being paid a sum of 100 gold each, according to the old contract, for doing a very specific job that we have already done. This is a new job, and as such, means new contract. Now, I can contract this with you, or I can contract it with Ondar, but if I go all the way back to the town to contract it with Ondar, that gives the villagers even more of a head start than they already have.
Well, let me incentivize what I desire. You get to keep 10% of whatever you take from the town when you find them. I'm sure Ondar will be fine agreeing to this. The more successful you are, the more you get paid.
All right. That sounds agreeable. We'll go ahead and take care of that then. See what we can get from the villagers. Even if they do make it to a city or a town or something like that, you might still be able to get something out of it.
I'll send my scout with you, as I said. She can help you track them down. She's efficient. And if there's anything unusual about your tactics, I'm sure I'll find out.
Probably. All things considered, I gotta talk to Ondar when we get back. Now, when we do return back with whatever we find, I'm gonna let Ondar know that you went ahead and spoke on his behalf. I hope you're comfortable with that.
I will speak with Ondar before your return. I'm sure, as I said, he'll be agreeable to what I've offered you.
Fair enough. Krushers! New job. We're tracking down the villagers and getting as much as we can from them.
The captain
Very well.
pulls aside Wilhelmina and gives her some orders quietly. And then gathers his troops and starts to march them back the way that they came.
Before they leave,
Mm-hmm.
Talus is going to go to Fornan.
Okay.
And he's just going to say to him, when we made camp before, you mentioned you had made some contact with the Wathans. Tell me of them.
When I was young, I had a soldier's tryst with a young Awathan from the Azure Mist tribe. They are a people who love to revel.
Talus nods. This is true.
My son is part Awathan. And he has much of their failings.
see. Well, you know, there is no tribe superior to the winter wolves, so I am unsurprised.
That's yet to be seen, I guess. You'll revel just as well as they did, and I will say, you are a unnerving fellow at times.
Why, thank you. Yeah, I think with that, Talus would be satisfied. I suppose I may as well. Does he seem to be telling the truth? Should I roll an insight for that?
He does. He does seem to be telling the truth. He seems to, like, when he talks about his son, it is not with any kind of satisfaction with it. He one addendum to what he said about his son. He talks about his son having all the failings of the Awathan, and he said he didn't make it as a Redenburg soldier either. I doubt you will.
Well, then I suppose we will simply have to see, little man. And then Talus walks away.
Vornin has this look like he tasted something awful as you said that, and he rides off. You guys are left alone at the town, set to stalk, tasked with stalking and hunting down the people that you just saved.
Well, looks like we got ourselves a little vacation. We'll go ahead and head down the path. We'll track down the villagers, at least get some evidence as to where they are. If Redenburg wants to go ahead and start a war with another group, well, that'll be an interesting thing. It'll definitely exhaust them. They'll be on the attack, so they're going to have large supply lines. That's going to be a problem for them. And something that we can definitely take advantage of. Now, it seems quite clear that the captain is extremely suspicious of us as far as this whole situation is concerned. There's reasons to be, and we already kind of saw that coming. But there's no proof. So, they're probably not going to do anything about it as of yet. When we return, with whatever we return with, that's when we'll see where we stand with them.
At least we have the spirits now.
True. Spirits and a troll. And the dwarves. We're really bracking up our forces.
Hey guys, I think we're gonna wrap there. Sentry's gone. Wilhelmina can't be here, and you kind of have a new
I'm here.
task.
Here.
Oh, you are there. Okay.
I am. Yeah, I'm using my phone right now.
Yeah.
Wait for my computer to finish booting up.
Okay.
Yeah. At the same time, though, Wilhelmina is going to be part of the group again, so
Yeah.
don't really want to skip over her.
Oh, a whole lot happened.
Yeah, we did a lot today.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, Sentry killing the mayor kind of threw the whole thing into a completely different direction than what I saw coming. That's I gotta be honest about that. So yeah, why don't we do some affirmations? It is 4:30, so why don't we go through and do that? Alex, what was your favorite Kolok moment today?
Definitely. Well, oh shit. Actually, that's hard.
There was some heavy role playing this session. Uh-oh. What happened?
Did anyone house get disconnected?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
Just
what just happened. The whole
Sorry about that. I don't know if I'm the one that ended the call or not.
yeah, Chris comes back and it completely shuts down the whole call.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, as far as favorite Kolok moment, if I had to pick one gun to my head, it would probably be leaving that scratch mark on Century's face.
Fair.
Pretty.
Other
I get that.
for the rest of the group, other favorite Kolok moments today?
Him going to town on the dead tree was pretty good.
Yeah, I think that whole like dream vision scene was good for Kolok too.
I also just liked when he checked up on Talus, Lucy, and Ty.
Wholesome Kolok.
Yeah, wholesome Kolok. Any other Kolok moments tonight?
I think that's the mostly all of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think those are some great moments. I really, I really appreciated what Kolok had to say to Century, even more than the scratches down his face, to be honest. I thought that was, there was this moment where it's like, I may be a wild, rage-filled beast, but I'm still not going to just slaughter somebody in cold blood behind their back and just straight up murder. And I thought that was, that was good. A good distinction, for the party. Chris, your favorite...
Did some real good speeches.
Yes. Kolok's a speech guy. He gives the speeches.
Which is very strange.
It's so
All
weird.
things considered.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Chris, your favorite
I don't
Century?
have any. I don't really have one.
You don't have
I
a
don't really
favorite
have a
Century
favorite.
moment.
No.
All right.
A murdering man in cold blood.
I think Century had a lot of development as far as this particular session is concerned.
I think eventually we're gonna realize that okay, I'll be honest. I don't think Century did anything wrong.
I know you don't.
Lizard man.
I know you don't.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as far as going across, I'm not gonna admit. I'm not gonna say I feel good about what Century did. I will say that it was. I will maintain that Century will never think it was the wrong thing to do.
I can agree with that. I don't think Century will ever think he did the wrong thing, because I don't think Century is a character who... I think Century as a character sees things in a very logical progression of things, and like people are having a moral struggle with this, not a logic struggle with this.
Yeah,
So,
like to Century, this guy was nothing but a liability, and we knew going in that we couldn't afford liabilities. We are lucky that I think Century thinks that we are incredibly lucky that they bought our deception in any respect, and that that honestly, the people that the fact that the army is now tasking the people that warned the civilians of capturing them is about the best set of circumstances we could ask for. And that if we had allowed that, and that if any of you guys asked Century, he would say, had we allowed the mayor to live, like to him, it was like either we risk this guy becoming a problem later on and hating us without seeing the ramifications of his desire to.
Nobody here is saying that they don't understand what Century's logic was. That's not the issue at all. That's not the issue at all.
I really liked the interactions with everybody afterwards. I thought that it was his and personally, I enjoy his inability to really feel the alienation he probably should be feeling.
Yes.
To be entirely clear from Kolok's perspective, it is not necessarily the murder that's the issue. It's the fact that he decided to just do it without consulting anyone, without talking about it at all, without even telling him about it. Like, nobody else is going to understand, but this is what's going to happen. Like, he just took it upon himself.
Yeah, if I could go back and change it, I definitely would have sent Kolok a message spell saying that I'm going to take care of it.
It worked. It works. Look, the role playing that came out of it was perfect. Don't worry about that.
It was fantastic.
Some very intense and very good role play.
Yeah. So other anybody Kolok moment or not Sentry moments that hit you today? Any favorite Sentry moments?
I thought it was really funny how he just very casually made breakfast the next morning. Everyone's a fucking wreck. And he's just like, eggs and sausage time.
Yeah, he just gets up and he's got his apron on and is cooking breakfast after, like, everybody's like, you monster.
Just because everybody hates him doesn't mean he doesn't still have a job to do.
They still need their meals. Very similar vein. I really liked when he was just like, we still need to get paid for the troll. Matter of fact, just like, that's fine. Just, we need to get paid for the troll, though.
Everybody, by the way, remember to add 50 gold to your stuff, because that's going to be distributed, so.
I didn't know.
Cicada in chat said that Wholesome Kolok was his favorite Kolok moment, and Blanket Century was adorable. The fact that he put a blanket on Lucy, even though she was like, go away.
Can't have her getting a cold.
Go ahead, Alex.
Well, I was just going to say that, like, as far as good Sentry moments are concerned, it was definitely like when he was talking to Talus, because he was making very clear. He's like, look, what I did was not good, and I don't agree, and I don't necessarily think it was like the best thing to do, but it was. I still believe in it. The only regret I have is the fact that all of you now hate me for it. That is the regret that I have, because it indicates I do care about what you all think of me. And that is something I'm going to have to learn to deal with. But at the same time, I still believe it was the right thing to do, regardless. And if you want to just, whatever punishment everybody thinks is good for me, I will accept it, because I don't regret what I did.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened.
I actually felt some kinship with what he was saying, too, because you have to remember, this is a boy who was exiled from his clan for stealing bones. Something where he's like, yeah, I see your point, but I'm still gonna do it now.
Lucy? Zoe, what was your favorite Lucy moment today?
I mean, probably her massive breakdown. That was loads of fun. I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, like from a role-playing aspect, it very much stood out.
It really did.
I don't know who's shuffling cards, but you can definitely hear it.
Oh, that's really weird.
That was cool.
I also really liked just the Lucy moment, just that tiniest bit of the actual Lucy trying to take back control. Just the beginning of a problem that I think we're going to have to face relatively soon.
Yeah, I think Lucy has had a bad day. I think she was a bit unnerved from that, and then just kind of...
Any other favorite Lucy moments as well?
Being a human switchboard was cool.
Yeah. I liked her grabbing the couple of dogs and bringing them back.
Yeah.
Plopping them on top of Talus, just like, I got your doggies.
Yep.
Into the dog pile.
I love the fact that Lucy was just like very calmly listening to Kolok like explain like his problem like mentally, while there's a field just burning around them. It's just you specified like there is a fire raging around you, Lucy. She's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. There's
I'm
like all this
to Kolok right now. That's what's important.
Yeah. There's all this chaos, and Lucy's just standing there listening to Kolok's diatribe.
Her priorities in line. In a line. I don't know what line that is, but it's in a line.
Fiona, what was your favorite Talus moment today?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I really liked just the part of Talus just getting this like righteous fury that I haven't had with him before.
Yes.
Of this like it was disrespectful not only to this guy, but in some ways, as he kind of explained, to like his spirit ancestors, he felt at least. So that righteous anger mixed with just take me to the body, I'm going to bring this man back to life.
Absolutely.
Definitely squaring up with Sentry. Yeah.
I also really liked when he talked to, who is it, Lieutenant Vornan, and it was just like, okay, little man.
Yeah. That response was fantastic. Others? I know for me, that his response to Century was definitely my favorite moment of all today. I think my favorite Talus moment ever, actually, was
him actually getting legit angry for the first time.
Yeah.
Because him and Lucy, and Ty, honestly, have never really had a moment where they've been actually like, legitimately upset before. Like even when they see, you know, hobgoblins or whatever like attacking people, it's like, oh well, it's up to us to save the day then. They're not upset about it, they're excited to be able to help people. But this is the one situation where they're just like, I can't just attack the guy who did the bad thing because he supposedly has been my friend for the last little while, and I don't know how to feel about it, other than I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
And that's very frustrating, and fuck him for making me feel this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if... Okay, just to chime in here real quick. Talus, did you hear what Sentry said when you asked him where the body was?
At which time? Because I remember I asked you multiple
was
times.
like where he was like, "Don't worry, I didn't destroy the bones."
Oh yeah, I did hear that. That was very good and considerate in a way.
Yeah,
and entirely not the point.
Did yeah.
And I would like to think I like to think that nobody here really they might doubt Sentry's like.
Nobody doubts Sentry's loyalty. I know that.
Okay, yeah, sure. No, I was about to say, I don't think anybody here doubts Sentry's like dedication to the group.
No, I don't think that's the... again, that is not the issue, right?
Yeah.
John, your favorite Ty moment today?
Well, I think a lot of things came up for Ty today. Both, like, reading the journal plus the confrontation with Century. So I think Ty is at kind of a inflection point in his career here, where he's got to make some direction choices that he hasn't really had to confront yet, and so there wasn't like a moment, but just kind of the culmination of everything from like the last few sessions kind of came to a head today, which was good.
Yeah, I think that is really good for Ty. I appreciated that as well. Like him just kind of being like, I don't know if this is the group for me anymore. I think that's something that I think Ty's going to have to struggle with. So I'm glad that he will have that going on. Other Ty moments?
I'm really excited for the fact that he started reading Shepherd Theo's book. I think that has a lot of potential to see where that's going.
I hope so.
I think it
was interesting to hear about.
Yeah, I think it shows a real crisis of faith.
Yeah, because I'm started getting this vision of like Ty being sort of the perfect apprentice for Theo in a way, where Theo was kind of like doing his own thing and not fitting in with the other Nadarans and got kind of kicked to the curb, and his response was like saving face and like teaching his apprentice this other version of the story. And Ty has that same impulse of like, and probably a lot of Nadarans do, of going their own way, following their own nature, and just like the response to what are the consequences of living that way, starting to come together here.
Absolutely. Any DM moments today, guys?
Yeah, letting me kill that guy. No, you totally could have just let it. You totally could have just Deus Ex Machina the fuck out of us.
Why would I do that?
And I appreciate that. I'm not saying you would. I'm saying I appreciate it happen.
There would be some DMs who would just be like, can we maybe not, you all see him leaving and you see him get his sword out, so maybe stop him. Like, there would be some DMs who would just be like, you're fucking my plot up, and try to stop it in some particular fashion. But,
and the fact that you were able to
I
roll with
know,
it, so.
having played with Mark for 3 months now, I'm well aware that he does not stop you from doing anything.
No, if you're going to make a stupid decision, I'm not going to stop you from making a stupid decision. That's your call, you know? Like, but you made an in-character decision. It's what Sentry would have done, and he's smart enough to move out of line of sight before he did it. Like, I'm like, well, this is what you did. I guess we're just going to deal with this now. It was the same thing with Kolok, like, ripping up that tree, you know what I mean? It's like, horses are scared of everything. They're gonna freak out if Kolok starts going crazy. So yeah, I thought it was so I thought yes, I'm glad I let you do that, to be honest. You did like derail the like direction of what I had going on, but like who cares? Like it created this entirely other scene where some serious awesome role playing came out of it that would not have happened otherwise, right? So yeah.
Also, totally love the dream that you gave Kolok. Bear, I would like to let everybody know ahead of time, there is a mid to fair chance that Wednesday's group is going to end up at some point in the very near future meeting up with Tuesday's group for specific reasons.
That may happen.
So, yeah.
Or some of Tuesday's group. Maybe not all of Tuesday's group.
Some of them, maybe.
That'll be cool.
I also just really loved just the mayor in general. Just his whole thing of like, I have failed this town. I wanted to fight. This is my last stand. You know, his little deal.
Yeah,
he made sense. Sorry,
I liked,
go ahead.
Sorry. Just Zerket's reaction to everything. I liked how we were let on enough that he was suspicious, but like, you know, we don't really know what he's thinking. I think, you know, it really makes you think, you know. It was kind of cool to see how our plan worked out, and we're kind of left with this uncertainty of like, okay, well, he's given us another job. That's nice, but like, you know, how much has he maybe figured out?
Can Talus raise him? Like right away?
Who? The mayor? No.
The mayor?
Oh no.
The mayor?
No.
Raise Dead, the resurrection, that has a very strict time limit on it.
So he's going to have to keep gentle reposing this guy every 10 days if he wants to use a lower level Raise Dead spell. But even regardless, the fact that Sentry decapitated the guy specifically actually poses some challenges.
Yeah, that's why Talus, when he saw he was decapitated, mostly looked annoyed, because he had already gotten in his mind, like, okay, to resolve this, I gotta bring him back. Easy. See the body with the head off. Fuck.
Yeah.
That makes it so much harder on me.
It really does. Yeah, when you said that you decapitated him, I was like, oh no. Because I knew where Talus was going with why he wanted to find the body. Like, Sentry thought that he wanted the body for the bones, but I knew exactly what Talus was planning on doing with the body. And when you said it was decapitated, it was like, well, that's rough.
That was inadvertent.
I know it was. I completely am aware of that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, I mean, obviously, I don't think Sentry would have been plotting like, Talus can't resurrect this, so it's just like something he happened to do that just makes interesting things. So we may have this body with us for a little while, is the point.
Sentry decapitates people on instinct.
Yeah. definitely like a how can I make this guy die the most painless and most efficient way possible? Decapitation.
Yep.
Whack, and then it was over. No cries, no. Well, it's not missing its head.
But it's not connected. That's
That doesn't
important.
Would
No,
need
you-
to find a way to reattach it first. Which is theoretically possible, but not within Talus's tool set right now.
That's fair. Well, guys, this things did not go as I had expected them to go at all this session in any way, shape, or form. I really didn't know how you were going to handle the town once you reached it. Not for certain. I know you talked about burning it, but I didn't 100% know what was going to happen, especially with the whole mayor being there. And I also knew that I made Zerket a competent commander. He is not some idiot soldier who just is going to fall for trickery very easily. And I didn't know what was going to happen this session, and it definitely did not go in any way the way that I expected it today. Yeah, that's my favorite part of D&D, to be honest, is that things can go in a way that you don't expect, and it creates these opportunities for, like, there were some moments that happened that were 100% character driven. Kolok's response to the dream created an entire sequence of events that I did not foresee happening, and then Century's reaction to the mayor created an entire sequence of events that I did not foresee happening, and you guys really stepped it up and, like, role-played in response to that, and it was pretty amazing. I have to say that I really am blown away by the role-playing today. It was awesome. So thank you for that. It was amazing. We'll be back next week with this, 1 o'clock, or 1:30 if Alex decides not to get up on time. And we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. We got a bunch of follows today, by the way. We got up over 300 follows with today's adventure, guys. We're at like 303, so that's pretty amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye. It was lovely.
Bye.